You see it? Welcome to the most iconic place in Russia. This is Red Square in Moscow. So, here is what you can see. It's pretty big. However, as you can see, that side there's like a little stage. If you see that little pointy thing, that's actually St. Basil's Cathedral, which is the most colorful church I've ever seen. I promise that I'll give you a closer look at that church because right now it's blocked, but I'll walk there. So here in Red Square, if you see the bottom, there's actually like different lines. On May 9th, it is the Victory Day in Russia, where there's like a parade of soldiers marching here, and right behind this red wall is the Kremlin. So that little building is where the president of Russia, so Putin, works, or one of the buildings that Putin works. This area is a massive museum called the History Museum. However, there's actually nothing really significant in there, so I'm not going to go inside, but the facade looks pretty cool. So Red Square is one of the 3 largest squares in the world in urban city. So first one being Beijing Tiananmen Square, second one is in Sao Paulo, and here, third one is right here in Moscow. It is called a red square. Don't be mistaken, it's not because of the red wall. Red actually means beautiful, and basically this really means a beautiful square. Alright, so as promised, I am now a much closer location to the St. Basil Cathedral. I passed through all these like stage, production, and right there is the Red Square, and again, this red wall, again, is the Kremlin, which is very close. So, a very closer look of St. Basil Cathedral. As you can see, this is one of the icons of Russia and also the icon of the Eastern Orthodox Church. I am actually inside the Kremlin now. It's pretty serious, but nonetheless there are a lot of tourists right here. So currently right behind me is the largest cannon in the world. It's actually a gift from the monarchy. Unfortunately, it's not a workable cannon. It's just a cannon so that the Russians can say that they have the largest cannon in the world, but it's never working. It's relatively short and it cannot handle the weight of a gun. Bullet. Anyway. And then the other side is the largest bell in the world. So, pretty cool. Just to give you a view of the Kremlin inside. That is St. Basil Cathedral. Again, we saw a closer look earlier this morning. And yeah, that's just like a bell tower. And this area is restricted area. No one can stand on it except the guard, which is this person right here. Hi, a little small explanation. Well inside the Kremlin is what we call it the Cathedral Square. Inside the Cathedral Square there are 6 to 7 churches or structures, depending on how you call it. And if I go clockwise, behind me is the first one, which is the Church of the Archangel. On this side, that building is the Church of the Annunciation. And then if we keep rotating to that little church, that little, golden tower, that is the Church of the Deposition of the Robe. If you keep rotating, right behind me is one of the most famous church right here with 3 little towers, is what we call the Assumption Cathedral. Over here, this is the Church of the 12 Apostles. There are a lot of kids behind me. Again, there are a lot of field trips inside the Kremlin. School field trips for grade schools and just to talk about inside. So it's great. Anyway, and then last but not least, this big structure, which I'm the closest around here, is called Ivan the Great Bell Tower. So this Cathedral Square has its significance. It's basically one of the more important squares and more important churches for the Tsars when they were born, when they were baptized, and especially this one, the Assumption Cathedral. This massive one is where for the Tsar coronation. Right here is an ancient city called Zagorsk. This is one of the ancient city church that is one of the 6 churches around the Moscow region. It's basically like a circle, and surrounded the circle are 6 different locations. This particular location is the most famous one. As you can see, this is one of the, they call it the holy city of the Eastern Orthodox Church. There are a lot of churches right here, different buildings, and it's interesting to see the origins of the Eastern Orthodox Church. Here in particular, the founder is St. Sergius, basically around the 15th century. He grew up as a rich kid, decided to come to this rural area to establish a new church. But interesting enough that is in this new church, he and his brother started off with building little wooden churches, and then but later on, once so St. Sergius one day woke up, basically God talked to him in his ear and saying that, oh, your church is going to grow up so big that there are going to be a lot of followers. And today it is correct that there are 110,000 followers here at Zagorsk. What actually propelled the development of the Eastern Orthodox Church is that he cured a blind person to be able to see. And so not only the poor people come here to ask for, guidance and advice, but also rich people and people with nobility. In particular, one of the prince general came to this place and asked for a prayer. And that particular prayer is to ask for victory in against the defeat to the Mongol army when they're trying to invade Russia. But as mentioned before, the Yuan dynasty in China fell down. That's why the Mongols actually didn't even fight and went back. So basically Russia won without even fighting, and because of that, the prince think that it's the miracles of God, and basically poured in money to this location to develop this church. So interesting place right here. This little red building is actually where they call the holy water. And as you can see from the video, a lot of people come here to get the holy water, not only for the forehead, but they are actually bring bottles of water to drink. Yeah. This is another landmark in Russia, Moscow. A little explanation right behind me. This is the area where Moscow, or Soviets back in the day, tried to showcase their economic power. But since the Soviet became Russia, this no longer serves the purpose, so now it just becomes a large park, and they sell different goods. It's a nice, interesting park where you can walk along all the way to the other side. And that side is an exhibition center. So again, large, huge plaza. On the other side of the road, I don't know if you can see it, that's a little top, that little pointy thing. I can show you another video. That one is actually the Cosmo Optics Museum, showcasing all the astronomy, spacecraft, how the Soviet and the US are trying to compete and try to get to space as fast as possible. So interesting area, lots of places to see, and you'll see some videos about it.
the ranch. Some